Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 15, Velmal's Revenge. A long-awaited series of Beast Quest indeed. I've been looking forward to Velmal's Revenge ever since, well, I looked up the series, storyline, like the series titles and see what they were. Like, oh, Velmal's coming back, because Velmal's Revenge is on the list. Oh boy. And here we are finally, Velmal's Revenge. And I must say, the first book is, I'm not to say it's amazing really, because the first book by itself is actually a pretty darn good book on its own. And normally I'm surprised because normally they don't get much time to focus on Wardok, or the Beast to be precise, because they have to focus more on the setup of the story. But no, we have a good decent length of Wardok. So, I'm going to do like I always do, in-depth story analysis, and we'll see how awesome Wardok the Sky Terror really is, and what Velmal's Revenge has concocted. Okay, first thing is we get an awesome prologue telling us that a prisoner has been wound up ever since his shipmate, Sampaio, took control of his crew and abandoned him on a wasteful prison guarded by Rashkor. He was placed in a cell with a cellmate that never spoke. No doubt this cellmate is Velmal, and if he's alive, his fight with Freya must have had a side effect, with his magic as a failsafe in case he ever defeated. But he too has ended up at Rashkor's prison, but he managed to smuggle in a black jewel, which he muddled into, which summoned the first of his evil beasts, Wardok. This beast was nearly the same size as Sampaio's ship, and easily knocked out Rashkor. Once the cellmate was aboard his dragon, the prisoner tried to come with. He even promised them a vast treasure, as he was once a pirate captain, but assuming this is Velmal, being the awesome villain that he is, just knocked the fool off to his untimely death. Already an awesome start. That we get a nice little backstory to kind of Sampaio, how he ended up as the captain of the pirate ship. So that's a nice little throwback there, and the stuff with Rashkor. Very nice. So yeah, my theory right there was that when Velmal was supposedly killed in Series 6, he was teleported to the prison of Rashkor, the Chamber of Pain, I believe it's called. Anyway, our heroes were introduced riding to a place called Panaya, in the kingdom known as Tangala. The two kingdoms, Avantia and Tangala, have been enemies over the years, but now they plan to end that by uniting the kingdoms with an arranged marriage. King Hugo would marry Queen Aroha. Luckily, there was a spark between the two, so it wasn't completely forced on either behalf. Hugo seemed eager for this. However, the happiness came to a halt when our heroes were ambushed by bandits. The leader of the bandits revealed they were no bandits at all, but Tangalians. The leader was Prince Rotu, nephew of Queen Aroha. He was a snobby young boy, a bit older than Tom. He seemed suspicious to trust the Avantians after all that's been going on in their area, with evil wizards and many battles. But the king eased the situation, wanting to avoid conflict with the Tangalians, as this was meant to be a day of reuniting the two kingdoms, not starting another war. They entered the Panaya city, Panaya, when a young boy liked Tom as he was a great warrior. Prince Rotu challenged this remark by having the men grab the young boy, put an apple on his head as he prepared to fire his crossbow. Tom wanted to do something, but the king shook his head. They had to respect the Tangalian ways. But Eleanor wasn't having any of this, and she fired her arrow, destroying Prince Rotu's arrow before it hit its target. But what would happen now? Prince Rotu was about to lose his crap when Queen Aroha emerged with her handmaidens as her own personal bodyguards. So that's a nice change. They were said to be the finest warriors of Tangala. Anyway, they were escorted into the Queen's palace, while Tom asked if there were any beasts in Tangala. She said no, as Tangala had 4 mystical objects to prevent good or evil magic from entering. This, in turn, stopped beasts from disturbing the kingdom. The 4 items were a crown, a ring, an orb, and a scepter, hidden in a sacred chamber which only the Queen would be able to enter. Prince Rotu didn't think it was wise to tell the Avartians these secrets, but she informed them, "This is a wedding, there will be no secrets." As the feast was underway, Tom and Daltek spotted a mysterious red raven knocking on a window. Then, when the raven flew away, a soldier informed that someone had broken into the palace. How ironic timing. Tom and Eleanor tried to stop the thief from stealing the 4 sacred treasures, but they failed, and he escaped with the treasures in tow. But Tom felt the thief was very familiar to him. When our heroes returned, Prince Rotu put the blame on our heroes, and the Queen said they shouldn't make rash judgments so quickly. So next morning there was a trial, but their allies didn't even help them in the court. In fact, Adaro was against them. When the Queen revealed the 4 beasts will return to Tangala, no doubt they lived here before, but the magic artifacts kept them out until now. That's my phone. Damn it. Anyway, Prince Rotu was given the Sand Map, a magical map that would show the kingdom of Tangala made of sand. Tom wanted to do this quest, but Adaro declined, saying it's a Tangalian matter now. They were accused of stealing the treasures and sentenced to a prison. Daltek showed up and apologized for Adaro's turns on our heroes. The king really wanted them to help, but he wanted it to be kept a secret. So Daltek gave them their weapons, freed them from the jail. They even figured out who the thief was. The Red Raven delivered a message that the prisoner had escaped the Chamber of Pain, and Tom knew of only one imprisoned there, Velmal. He was back. Okay, this means Tom knew that Velmal was alive and not dead. Or, the special with Grashcore holds some information that I'm not aware of. But what I'm gathering is these beasts always lived in Tangala, but they were evil, hence why they decided to keep all magic. So Velmal had to rely on his fighting skills to break in and steal the artifacts. Once that was done, he had summoned back the evil beasts of Tangala, and the back of the book tells me these beasts work for Velmal, and it's either A, they are grateful for what he did and obey him because of that, or B, Velmal puts his evil beasts on Tangala, but the artifacts denied them entry, or C, Velmal originally lived in Tangala, which explains the evil beasts. So, okay, we do learn that no one knows what Velmal's beasts look like, so this tells me the beasts were here before the Tangalians, which would make them very old. With our heroes free, they landed safely with Arctur's eagle feather, and then Tom used the power of the golden breastplate to break open the stables and free their animals. Tom said it wouldn't take long for the Queen to realize they had escaped, but without the sand map they had no idea where to go, so they had to find Prince Rotu, and Silver wasted no time catching his scent, which led them to a small town in the distance. But before they could enter, a large dragon flew over them. Luckily, it didn't see them, but Tom spotted one of the 4 mystical artifacts, the crown. He then used the red jewel to overhear what the beast was thinking. The beast told the people to prepare, as Wardok, the Sky Terror, had returned. Tom and friends raced after Wardok, and by the time they arrived, the destruction had already began. They saw Prince Rotu trying to fight off the beast, but he was clearly overpowered with Wardok's whipping tail. Rotu ended up dangling from a root near the quarry. Tom began using the red jewel to communicate with Wardok, which shocked the great beast, as he had never heard someone speak to him in ages. This made him retreat, allowing our heroes to save Prince Rotu. He said he would take them to the Queen and see them locked up again, but with his soldiers dead, by Wardok it seemed, that wasn't an option. Wardok came back for round 2, and Tom tried to save a young boy from Wardok's attack, but the boy just managed to get inside his home, only to have Wardok land right on top, crashing the entire building, and it wouldn't be long before the beams broke in and crushed the boy to death. Tom raced in, used the power of the golden breastplate to save the boy, then Eleanor helped to drag Tom away from the blast of impact. Prince Rotu was about to take our heroes in when they were won over by the crowd, and the mayor of the town, known as Mina, said, you know, they shouldn't be taken in, all that stuff. Kinda. Prince Rotu refused to accept them as heroes, and nothing more than criminals. Tom wished Rotu was on their side, as he had the sand map, but Eleanor revealed she had stolen the sand map from Rotu without him noticing, giving them the upper hand. Mina led her people out of the town to a secret cave for safety, away from Wardok. However, Wardok had followed them, and used his high screeching blast to blast our heroes into the cave. Now they were trapped. Wardok awaited them, because, you know, the cave is only like one way in, one way out scenario. Tom asked Mina if there was another way out of the cave, and luckily, there was indeed a way out, but it was too narrow for everyone to go through. So Tom and Eleanor went through it alone, found their way to above the cave. There was also a pulley system which they could use as a trap for Wardok. However, Wardok seemed to have got the drop on them. He grabbed Tom and pulled him away from everyone, but Tom wasn't going to allow this. He stabbed the beast's foot, which plummeted Tom into the river. Tom tried to trick Wardok into thinking he had been drowned in the river, so Tom could come up with a plan to defeat Wardok. Tom managed to drag himself out of the river. He gave Eleanor the sign to prepare to launch a trap they had found in the mine on Wardok. Tom lured Wardok to him, springing the trap, and Tom tried to use the golden boots, but Wardok knocked him off course, now whipping again, toying with his prey. I must admit Wardok has done a terrific job beating our hero to a pulp. Not many beasts have done it to this level. However, when Tom finally got that luckily on Wardok, with Eleanor dropping the trap on Wardok. So basically what happened was Tom got whipped back, and then he was going to die at that moment, but then Eleanor comes in, launches the trap on Wardok, sending a bunch of rocks crushing him down. He had Wardok at kill point, his sword near his neck, but then Wardok turned to purple sand and vanished before his eyes, leaving the first of the treasures, the crown of Tangala, behind. Tom picked up the crown and joined Eleanor and the townsfolk. It hadn't been long before Eleanor and Tom, it hadn't been long before Tom had died, and if it wasn't for Eleanor, well, Tom wouldn't be here right now. But then it got worse. Velmal showed up, looking worse than ever. His skin was so pale you could see the skeleton structure underneath the thin layer. The Chamber of Pain had done its worst to Velmal. Tom spotted the black jewel with his golden helmet powers, and he had a theory, but a very risky one. He dared Velmal to kill him, giving full control to lowering his guard. And luckily, nothing happened. Velmal didn't seem to do anything. Tom explained that when Velmal was banished from the Circle of Wizards, he lost his magic, and he's dependent on the black jewel for defense. So Tom has quickly come to the conclusion that the Circle of Wizards got rid of Velmal's powers. So in Tom's mind, after Velmal's fight with Freya, he ended up teleported to the Circle of Wizards, where they removed him from the circle, stripped him from his magic, sentencing him to Rashkor's prison. That seems to make sense, but how can Tom put together so quickly that? Because the story needs to explain it. If that's the case, why not have Daltek say it when they have him on screen? I mean, it would make more sense than Tom saying, exposition! Like, it feels like they're rushing the book, basically, with Tom saying it. Because when they have Tom say, it's like, we need to rush the book, so we'll have Tom, come up with this big scheme and he'll figure it out. But they could have easily had Daltek do that, and that would make more sense, but, They took the crown to Storm's saddlebags and galloped away to find the 3 remaining beasts. Overall, and that was Wardok, the Sky Terror. And I must say, it's a very great book. The ending, with Tom suddenly coming to the big conclusion on Velmal, is the only problem with it. It's not a major one. I just wish they fixed it up in later books, where they don't have Tom say, I figured out this really quickly, because it feels like that's rushing the book to me, because I need to wrap this up, we'll have Tom figure this out. But again, they could use characters like Daltek or Adaro to do that, because they're wizards. So, that's probably the one thing I have an issue with. But other than that, I really like this book. The introduction to an arranged marriage is something we haven't seen before on Beast Quest, from my knowledge anyway. It's a nice callback to the Disney stuff. I do get what it would come up at some point with King Hero going to an arranged marriage. Prince Rotu, snobby little prince, another sort of Disney cliches at some points. But, you know, I think he's a nice foil to Tom. He's not a bad character, he's a kind of he's like just being a bit stuck-up prince as you do. And then you get Wardok himself, and to be fair, normally in the Beast Quest series, the first beast has to be rushed for the story to work, but no, as a matter of fact, Wardok is in it quite a bit. He's in it from the prologue, he's in it like after 3 or 4 chapters in. Let me just check which one he was at. I think 3 or 4. Yeah. Yeah, he was in chapter 5 onwards. But he's also in chapter... the prologue chapter, and then he's in chapter 5 onwards. But yeah, if he's in it, I feel like he's in it quite a lot more than other first beasts. Because, again, story. But this, he really does a number on Tom. And if it wasn't for Eleanor with that rock trap, he would have probably died with that powerful whipping tail of his. But yeah, I really do like Wardok the Sky Terror. And I am looking forward to the next book. So join us next time on Beast Quest, where Velmal's Revenge continues in none other than Exaric, the Bone Cruncher. Till next time, guys. Peace.